They ported my phone number to the office, so they took away my phone number. The business manager did, and get me a new phone number. And there's a few customers that are key customers, but other than that, all my calls are routed there. So if there's something urgent, they would let me know, but that really never happened. They were able to take care of it. And they would just tell them. I said, don't lie to them, just tell them the truth. They said, David's taking a sabbatical. He's out for a month, and they'd say, oh, well, we want to talk to David. We only deal with David. And they would explain that to him, and they'd say, oh, well, good for him. That's great. And it was no big deal.
That's huge.
I thought it'd be a huge
Great
thing.
for him. Get him on the phone.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Heirs, where faith meets business, inspiring the kingdom-minded entrepreneur. I'm your host, James Matalone, and today I've got David Freymiller with me again. We're here to talk about what it's like to take time off and time away from our busy work schedule. Welcome back to the show, David.
Hey, thanks, James. Looking forward to it. Love being with you.
Good. Well, so last time we talked, you were getting ready to take time away from the office, and you hadn't, and I think you were talking about a month. Talking about taking a month away from the office, which to me is kind of the pie in the sky. Wow, that would be awesome to be able to do that. And so I wasn't really sure how that would go for you, but vicariously I want to know, what was that like, and is that even possible for me and for the guys that listen? So I want to hear your story. What was it like taking time away from the office?
Oh, it's a broad question. Yeah, it was great. Overall, it was fantastic. And we stretched that month. After a month, and we go into details later, but we met with the team and had lunch together, my wife and me and our leadership team, and decided, I said, all right, here's double or nothing. We gave them each a bonus. You guys, everything,
wow.
Didn't burn the place down. Y'all are still here. Everybody got paid.
Wasn't your thing that you said, don't call me unless
fire, flood, or blood?
Right.
And they didn't.
Okay.
They didn't call.
So
I said my 3 goals were: don't lose any employees, don't lose any customers, and show a profit or just break even at least at the end of the month. And they did all that.
Yeah, don't lose us money. Don't lose any team members. Even if you want to fire them all, don't do it.
Right.
Right?
Right. There'll be natural attrition. Kids go off to school or something. We use a lot of teenagers, but.
Yeah. But still, yeah, key players.
Yes, especially, your leaders, our managers. Right.
Okay. So did it suffer?
No, not that I can tell. There's a couple things I do. I still check the bank accounts.
Of
so
course.
I make sure we don't run out of money.
Right, of course, and transfer money around when you need to.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, make sure people are getting paid and bills are being paid.
Now, so the operations didn't suffer.
Correct.
Now, why is that, in your opinion? Why do you think?
I think that we did a lot going into it because this is something we'd planned for a while. And in the middle of there, we had a family vacation too, went to Florida for a week, so we were gone out of the scene. But a lot of it is just positions, people knowing what their positions are and what they do. And so gradually over time, I'd been just delegating my duties off to them and just overseeing it. I don't want to seem like I'm some superhero.
No, it's a big deal though. It's a big deal.
Processes, yeah, and I'm definitely not perfect, and there's things we need to tweak, but it did work.
That's a key thing, is that you set up your key players. Who are your key players? Do you have a general manager? Do you have an operations manager? How do you?
Yeah, great question.
Because I'm thinking there's guys that are listening, guys and gals that are listening, saying, a month? How could you have done that? Mm-hmm. Like, how was that? Not that like, oh, how dare you? It's like, well, I want to be able to do that, and how can I do that? And they might be owner operators. You are an operator. Mm-hmm. Like you're daily involved. So what's that? And then you and your wife both took the time away. So
right.
How does someone get to that point?
Right. Well, we wrote down the main things that we do. And then we do have, our team, we have a director of operations who's in charge of everything out on the field.
Yep.
All the activities going on, taking care of the customers, scheduling, hiring, firing.
Yep.
Quality control. And then we have a business manager who's really kind of has taken the place of a CFO. So he handles all the internal stuff about paying the bills, making sure we have money coming in, billing, invoicing, receiving, payroll, paying taxes, quarterly taxes, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taking care of that end of it. And when we met before we did the sabbatical, I said, should I put somebody in charge, like a key player that ultimately his decision? They said, no. And I didn't. And they've got this. So they've worked together. That was the main thing I enjoyed seeing, is that they worked together.
Who did you ask that question to? Your team?
To both of them. To the
business manager. Okay.
And the business manager. Yeah. And then we have another girl. I'm sorry. lady that that is at the office. It's the office manager, and so she takes care of the calls coming in and scheduling jobs and things like that. And helping with employee.
Those are the key things.
Yeah.
Everything you mentioned, those three things are the key things. You got operations manager, right? Ops. You got a controller or a CFO or business manager kind of in that role. And then you have office management.
Right. And so somebody needs to change something on their paycheck or something, she'll take care of that. And she'll do a lot of the billing, a lot of the invoicing, a lot of the job scheduling. So, yeah, those three work together.
How long have you had those three roles in position?
Really just for like 3 years now.
Did you do it all at once, or did you do it slowly over time?
Gradually. Gradually, they would take things off our plate. My wife and I started, we did that podcast, maybe people will refer to that, talked about with your wife how we started out.
Yes.
And we were doing everything. It's
Correct.
The treadmill where we're running everything. And she's doing the payroll, and I'm trying to get timesheets together. I remember last minute before payroll and trying to turn them into her, and we just did the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's really a process over time, and people probably could have done it a lot faster than we did.
Each of those positions, you have to have high trust.
Yes.
You personally, you and your wife both have to trust each person in that role.
Yeah. I think you asked me when I mentioned this to you, like, who's going to pay the bills? You have somebody that can actually pay the bills? I said, yeah, we do. He's on the bank account. He signs for bills. I don't even see them. He takes care of them. Totally trust them.
Right. Now, even with that, there people say you can't do that. There's levels, I think, still that owners have of oversight. You still oversight it, right? I think, but to the point, though, is that if we don't trust people and if we don't give them our trust, how can we ever gain a trusting relationship,
Absolutely.
right? It has to start with we've got to initiate trust.
Yeah.
They trust us and we trust them. So it's this circle of trust,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, it's funny you hit on that because that's one of my issues. And one of my team members says, "Oh, don't you trust us?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, I do." So I'm constantly battling with that myself.
Of course,
it
yeah,
is.
Because in the end, we're personal guarantees. In the end, we're on the line. They can walk away, right?
Right.
And that's the reality of what the owner bears. Is that we're personal liable, like we're the guarantee for all of it. So if it doesn't, the business can't pay, we got to pay personally.
Yeah.
Hence why the owner should be paid well.
Right.
They should be
The buck
paid well.
stops here.
Yeah, because when it goes to become a slow season, the owner might be able to loan back money to the company, and the company better pay it back, right? There's ways, but if we're not paid well, if we're not compensated well, we can never come and step in and help the company through a hard storm or a hard time.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, my wife and I said that they don't see the times years ago when we're starting when we didn't get paid, for months,
right?
Because we had to pay our people, and they came first. And
right.
We just did without.
That's it. Yeah, it's true.
Scrimped and just got by.
So you've got the three positions, three roles. It took you about 3 years to have all of them in place, and then with that, you also had the job descriptions based on what you knew you needed to have off of your plate.
Absolutely. We call them KRAs, the key result areas. These are the things, if a job is done great, this is what it looks like. And so they each have those in place.
Okay, that's good.
So that we know what each person is doing. We have a organizational chart. We know who answers to whom.
That's good. And so while you were gone, what was the sense or the urge to pick up your phone, to check in, to dial in, to see where you're at? Like, what was that like?
Yeah. Well, one thing they did is they ported my phone number to the office. So they took away my phone number. This is what Daniel, our business manager, did and get me a new phone number. And so there's a couple of customers that have it. There's a few customers that are key customers that have been with us for years. And
of course.
Very valuable to us. But other than that, all my calls are routed there. So if there's something urgent, they would let me know. But that really never happened. They were able to take care of it. And they would just tell them. I said, don't lie to them. Just tell them the truth. They said, David's taking a sabbatical. He's out for a month. And, they'd say, oh, well, we want to talk to David. We only deal with David. And they would explain that to him. And they'd say, oh, well, good for him. That's great. And it was no big deal.
That's huge.
I thought it'd be a huge
Great
thing.
for him. Get him on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, good for him. We'll tell him I said hi or something. And then they go about and do business. And the team was able to take care of it. So that went a lot smoother than I thought it would.
Sometimes we think we're a bigger deal than we are.
That's so true. Yeah.
And that, not to say that we're not important, but to your role, to your point, if we've got a team that we've been developing for years now, at some point we've got to let them take on that responsibility. Otherwise, they'll never feel like they can run for you, run for us.
And you can start small too. Just a day off is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It also felt like the guilt thing. Like, here, I'm out and I'm not playing. We're doing other things. That's what I want to talk about also.
Yes.
But, it's kind of guilty. They're going to the office and doing this work every day, and here I'm not. I'm at home and getting coffee with my girls and doing things with the family.
That's huge.
But like you said, it's the ownership thing. Like, we went through the trenches to get to this point.
Yes. If we never experience that right there, what's the point? Because we experience all the other grit and hardship, the stress. We experience all of that while we're, hey, but you're an owner. You're making money. You're doing just fine. At what cost? Mm-hmm. At what cost? So if we don't have the ability to take a week off, take a long weekend, a Friday through a Monday, like we come back, we leave Thursday and come in Tuesday. If we're at that point in our life where we can't do that, that's a serious red flag of a crash is coming. There's a crash. Mm-hmm. Like internally, there's going to be a crash, right?
And it could be yourself, could be emotional. Right?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. The
right.
burnout. The burnout is
exactly.
there. You can only run on adrenaline so long. Mm-hmm. And most of the people, it's because they don't want to let go of the grip.
Mm-hmm. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. He's talking about self-medicating. These guys that just are so into it, and it's all dependent on them. But they medicate other ways. It could be alcohol.
Absolutely.
It could be drugs. It could be just binge watching TV, just overeating, just...
Yes,
it's not healthy.
Could be porn.
Yes, exactly.
It's a number of things that guys and gals will go to. It could be affairs. It could be after business hour meetings with people that you don't need to be meeting with. Right. All of that is very, very real. Doesn't matter if it's in the Christian world or the secular world.
Ministry deals with it too.
It's in ministry, right? So because the pressure is so much, and I think the one key man. Really, if everything falls on just one key guy or gal, it's a serious problem. It's a serious problem. And so those are red flags that we can see it because we've walked through it. We're like, oh, wow, 20 years in business. You're 20, 25 years in business?
Yeah, 40 in the industry.
The industry?
This is my 40th year.
Yeah. So I think that you've seen it all. And so at that point, part of why we're doing this is to give people the eyes to see that things can change for them too.
Right. Absolutely.
They
try
don't,
to get some encouragement.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You don't need to be stuck in a position where I just need to let it all burn. No, not necessarily. Just get some key players in here and relinquish trust. Start to give out trust.
Yes. And at heart, I'm a people pleaser. That's just kind of my
of
personality.
Course.
And there's been so many times, like I've missed anniversaries, I've missed kids' birthday parties because some emergency work situation would come up.
Right.
Family vacations were few and far between. And so,
do you think it was worth it?
No, it wasn't. No, because I've learned now, like, life goes on and people are forgiving. They'll understand, if it's a last minute situation and we can't do it, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And or if I mess something up, if we're just honest and straightforward and say, look, we blew it, we'll remedy the situation. People are fine. It's like, wow, they actually forgave us and we're still friends.
I had
the end.
I had this thought yesterday. I was driving home and I was thinking about some people that owed us some money, and clearly they owed us money. They still do, and they just didn't want to pay. They just didn't feel like they had the right to pay us, though we completed the work and so forth. And I thought about it, and one of our team players was talking about, who was there for the whole experience, and we were talking about it again because it came up again. We're like, well, if they had paid. I'm like, you remember what happened? He goes, yeah, I remember 100%. I was there. I said, I know. And I thought about it, and I was like, people who serve money will always be ensnared by money. Mm-hmm. Money becomes their master if they serve it. But if we allow money to serve us, now we are the master of money.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
If we continue that no matter what, we will bow down to the request to earn money or satisfy a need of a customer or a prospect, because a lot of work is done just with prospects. It's a time suck. Mm-hmm. In the pursuit of winning the contract, pursuit of earning that money that we need. But it comes at a cost. And so every time we bow down to the request of money, we then become the slave of money. Mm-hmm. But if we tell money to obey us by the way we respond, then money will serve our needs. It's like the concept of, I'm like, wow, it's a whole mindset. Like literally, I don't need to say yes to every deal that comes across my path. I literally can say, nope, I'm not interested in that money. Well, why not? Well, because it's you, the person behind it is a nasty person that I'm going to be in contract with. Why do I want that experience? Why do I want to feel like they can control me?
Right. And how are they going to treat your team?
Correct. So not all money is green.
Morale.
Some money you just say no to. You don't want it. Especially when the conscience of the Holy Spirit, your conscience and the Holy Spirit is telling you, stay away from that. I don't care how many zeros are on it. Stay away from it because it's going to control you. And you're going to wish and plead with Jesus to get out of that contract.
Right.
It's true. And so I think that's when we do things for the sake of gaining more money that compromise integrity, compromise our moral compass, that compromise our conscience. That's when we know we are a slave to money.
Absolutely. Every time we have a financial meeting, every quarter, I remind them, I said, these, looking at numbers, these are dollars that came in, dollars that went out, and the profit hopefully at the end of the month.
Yes.
But what is this reflective of? This is a lag measure. This is result of the work that we did of serving people. That's the main issue.
Right.
As we went out to serve people, to meet a need, to help people, that's what we want to focus on. The money comes, the money follows, but that's not our focus. The focus is the mission that we're on.
Then that's good. And it's providing a really good service to people. In the end, we can be paid servants. We've talked about that before. You and I are servants, and we're paid for the level of service that we and our team provide.
That's right.
It's just that simple. It's customer service, right? It's servant. So I think
it's
that
ironic how if you just show up on time, if you're dependable, if you're honest, you look decent,
the
money follows. It's not that hard.
Right. You know what you're talking about.
Right.
You're confident in what you know and what you don't know. Say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm going to find it out.
You return your phone calls, just little things,
It's the basics of life. And that's how money then begins to serve you.
Absolutely.
Because it starts finding you. The blessings start finding you.
Right.
It's like these spiritual principles that God had set up from the beginning of time. If you care for others, you'll see how it comes back to you. Because then his care comes through. Yes, that's right.
One thing I kind of jotted down in my notes, planners are so important, James. Like, I don't know if we've ever talked about a planner, but I take this everywhere. My daughters make fun of me about my planner. There's one podcast I listen to. He says, plan tomorrow today. Plan tomorrow today.
Absolutely.
So my wife and I tried to do that the night before. All right, what's 3 things you want to get done tomorrow?
That's good.
And maybe look at a win from today. And it's just, that's what got us through the sabbatical. If I didn't have a plan, I'd just sit around and do nothing, And also on the sabbatical, no, I didn't. We were really busy. It's not, we're leaving work behind, but we're going to something. That's what really helped me.
That's what I want to hear about.
Question.
Yeah.
You were like, well, how did you do it? Just leaving the work. Was it hard? Well, not really, because we worked towards something. Truth be told, we had a family tragedy into the last year, my wife's family.
Yes.
And we really were able to focus on that and help her family the first month, like getting estate things together, getting a house together.
Yes.
And really assisted her family, where if I was working at the office every day, we couldn't have done that.
And this goes back to the whole point about being present. Be present in our own lives. If we think that, well, your spouse could just take care of that. Melanie could take care of that, Dave. You just stay working. That's how a lot of people think. But then we become detached from the situations in our life. And then we wonder why we're detached. And our wives are like, you haven't been here. Your kids are like, Dad, we love you. You make us laugh, but you're not here. Like, oh, that's kind of that hurts. So how do we then get back to that point? What you're saying is you focused on things that you did together.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, sure did. And, we talked about mindset, and on the sabbatical, you're able to see the forest for all the trees. That's that expression. When you're looking at all the trees, you just can't see the big picture.
Correct.
That's the sabbatical, and it comes, you're the minister, it comes from Sabbath, doesn't it?
Yes,
from
it
rest.
does. Yes, we need rest.
Right, we need rest. So it's a sabbatical, it's a rest.
And
when we stepped back like that, I was able to change my mindset. Like, going through these 40 years, I was first in a position as a worker, and I'd work hard and make some tips and make some money. That's great. Then I became into management. And so there's a different mindset. And then we became upper management and owners. And so now I'm thinking with this sabbatical, it's like I really want an ownership mindset over an operational mindset.
Correct.
So I want to keep getting leaders in place that can do that part of it.
And want to do, and they want to do that.
Right, and they're good at it, and they're better than me at it.
This is their role. Most of those guys, people say, well, if I teach them everything, they're eventually going to take me out of business, or they're going to go on and start their own business. Most guys want to work for a great company. Most guys want to work, most guys and gals want to work for a great visionary, a great businessman, woman. They want to work for good people. They want to be a good environment. They don't want all the liability and stress of being the owner. They don't want to be you.
Right.
Though they like working for us, they don't want to be us. So there's that risk factor of like, well, what if I teach him everything? He's going to run off my business. The odds of that are actually not very high.
That's right.
Right? So I think that's one of those things that you can trust these guys. That's the role they really, really want. And some of them will go on to start their own businesses, but they will never be at the same place that you or I are at currently.
If somebody does want to move on,
it'll take them time to build up a book. It'll take them time to weather through all those storms and learning lessons and teaching. They're never going to be immediately at the same spot you are or I am. We got 20, 25 years on them, like in business for ourselves. So there's a level of trust that you can give to these guys.
Richard Branson says, I'd rather train somebody and have them leave than not train them and have them stay.
Ooh. Yeah,
that's always stuck with me. Like, okay, that's really good.
That's a big word right there.
Yeah, I'd rather train somebody and have them leave than not train them and have them stay. So, okay, yeah, we talked about the planner, just planning your day.
Yes.
Plan your week. These are things I want to get done. And don't overdo it. Like if you just get 2 out of 3 done, no worries.
That's an accomplishment.
It's an accomplishment. You did something. You moved forward.
Yeah.
I was listening to so many podcasts. Yours is the best.
That's a plug for Kingdom Heirs, by the way.
That's right. But a guy the other day said that his big 3 things, like his motto, his creed in life, is his faith, his family, and fitness. I thought, well, that's
fitness
different.
Is a big deal. Yeah.
Faith, family, and fitness. Why don't you talk about that some? We just shared, I played racquetball yesterday for 2 hours with guys from church. I said, don't be easy on me. They weren't.
So
they whipped me. And it's
that's
fun stuff that you can do.
That's a great point. I can't talk about the fitness part, though I look buff. I can't talk too much. I've done it, and I have a season of doing it.
It's just eating healthy. It's just taking care of your.
It's caring for our bodies. Right. And one thing I found is that I had a big revelation about a month and a half ago. We just finished this giant build. Most people know that I'm a builder by trade, carpenter, and so. We just finished this giant build, the New Life Church Sanctuary here in Corpus Christi, Texas. And it's about 2,000 people. It's about 35,000 square feet. It's a gigantic sanctuary. It's just and it's a tent, structural tent. Very, very cool, very, very different. I've never done anything like it before. But we are in the final push of we have to get it done. We had a month to get it done. And so I realized one of my key superintendent was heading off to he's a reservist, so he had to go do his week. I'm like, all right, you're going to be gone. I'm stepping in. So literally, I've been sitting at the desk running the office, the operations side from the office. So I literally pulled my tool belt off the shelf. I hung my tool belt up probably in 2018, right? And then my old tool belt's been there. I took it off the shelf, strapped it on, put on my tools, loaded my truck up with tools. I'm like,
fit?
It's funny. It fit. I'm going, and some of the guys in the trades will probably appreciate this, but I'm there, I'm loading up, I'm working. I'm sweating like a pig. It was hot. This is June. This is June. All of month of June and first week of July. Working 60, 70 hours a week to get it done. And we got it done. My belt deteriorated.
Oh, no.
It deteriorated my belt. I literally just fell apart, right?
Wow.
Dry rot because it sat on the shelf so long. The guys that are in trades know that if you don't use your skills and your talents and your tools, eventually they just start to wear out. Like you forget how to do things, but it's muscle memory. And then it starts coming back to you like, oh, this is great. I loved every minute of being on the job site. I loved doing it. And the banter, we had like 40 guys working there. I'm the head boss, and I'm there working with them in the trenches. And they're like, this is great. And it was a lot of fun, and I missed that. It reminded me of how much I love doing that. Mm-hmm. That, just being right in the middle of it and just, hey, I got this, come on, here we go, and leading by example. And so through that, Megan bought me a nice new belt, which was great, beautiful belt. I'm like, oh, this is so exciting. But part of it was like I forgot what I loved so much about this business of building. And it became more about the projects, go out and win the big jobs, go set them up, developing, and which takes it's a big time suck, but you build it. And I was like, man, I really enjoyed the actual work of this, dealing with the people, working with the subs, dealing with the guys, actually swinging my hammer. And I'm like, I really miss that element of my work.
Mm-hmm.
Past 7 years, I've been doing the other stuff to get it to the point where we can have all these guys and these projects and what we have now. But it's like, it just reminded me of like going back to like your first love. You know, the Bible talks, go back to your first love, which is Jesus. But this was like, man, I really love working with my hands. And I don't ever want to give that part up because it's so rewarding. I can give up a lot of the other stuff, the stress and dealing with a lot of other unnecessaries. But that was just part of physically fit that got me back in the, I was like, oh, wow, I dropped like 7 pounds working on the job site. Most of it, I think, was body weight, water weight. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, there's that element of still staying connected to the reason why you got into this business. So if there's whatever business you're in, and if there's a part that just lights you up with excitement, and you've got other people who can do the stuff that you're not so excited about, but they get excited about paperwork, they get excited about.
Right. That's
get back to the point that you really enjoy why you're doing this. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you lose the sense of meaning in some of this, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm reading the book, Buy Back Your Time, and that's exactly what he does, is the things that he's not so good at, that are burdensome to him, administrative stuff, hire somebody to do that. And he says, don't hire to grow your business, hire to buy back your time, to free you up so you can go out and work with the guys. You can go out and do it.
You're free to do it.
You're free to do it.
So when you leave, your office doesn't suffer.
Right.
And that was one thing that was great about our team that we've set up. I was able to leave for 6 weeks, and our office didn't suffer. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Michaela was running checks out to me that needed to be signed. They're already printed and ready, and all the reports are ready. I just had to go through, sign them. She'd take them, run them back to the office.
Yeah.
So we were in a position where we could do that. Thank you, Michaela.
But I jotted down like another thing, you know, my people perish for lack of vision, the word says. And so it's good to plan your days, your weeks, your time off, but it's also good to plan way down the road, like 3 years from now. And so that's something that my leadership team and I are going to do. It's going to be like an off-site meeting. We'll go off somewhere, maybe Port A for a day, and together we'll work on what the company wants to look like 3 years from now. And when I was in high school, another part-time job I had was there was no future. We'd always wonder, you know, we do the same thing every day, but there's just no vision. There's no, like the ownership didn't want to grow. They just want everything the way it was. I thought, man, that's so boring. And I got out of there eventually because it's just the same thing all the time. But, you know, if we can, there's something, a common goal we can all get behind, like maybe going to another market or increasing our market share here, just things like that.
Improving efficiency.
Staffing, yes.
Improving efficiency is just, that's exciting because everybody sees the result of, oh man, we're doing it so much faster now. And the quality didn't drop because we fine-tuned it.
Right. Yeah, or even bigger office space, just things like that, just the details that we work together as a team and set these goals.
An espresso machine in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We did that, and my whole team was like, "Really? How do we use this thing?" So now we got little baristas all over my office because everybody knows now how to use this espresso machine.
That's great, or a fitness room or something.
Fitness something.
Just dream.
Something.
Yeah, the sky's the limit. Yeah.
That's a great point. There's you see that when we care for the mental health. You know, part of mental health is just getting ahead of it, right? Preventing burnout, and frustration.
Too, is your emotional state.
Yes,
I hadn't really thought about that.
We do. I mean, I think once a month we do Pizza Fridays, right? So once a month we bring pizza in and we just talk and hang out, and that's part of it too. It's just doing something, creating that community. You know, it's funny. Off topic, I want to say this real quick though. They hit somebody approached me and said, "Well, I really like this. It's a family company. It's a family business. I love being a part of a family." And my family and I were talking about it. We're like, but this isn't a family business. We're a business. Yes, we're family, and we have family members here, but we're here to fulfill a contract obligation to one another. I have an obligation to you that I give you a good, safe work environment, that I give you a place where you can excel and accomplish your goals freely without hindrance. I want to make sure you're paid every week. I want to make sure that you're in a place where you're growing. Your commitment to me is that you will fulfill your job description and do it well, not bare minimum, do it well. And when you exceedingly abundantly do it well, then you're in line for a raise. But if you don't do it well and you do it subpar, and we have to bring a lot of correction and more training and more training and more training about the same things, you're not fulfilling your obligation to us. At that point, you probably need to go. And as harsh as that is, in family, there's a lot of discipline in family. So if it's a family business, there's probably going to be even more discipline to try to get us to the point where we're trying to hit our goals on a regular basis.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, no, exactly. Like, I always have second thoughts when I hear people say that, like, we're a family. We're really not. We're a team. But I can't fire my family.
Yeah, this is true. We really can't fire our family
members. I hate to be morbid like that, but we're a team. We love each other. We care for each other. If somebody's, we have a guy right now that had a mild stroke, so we're still paying him. He's recovering. We're coming together to support him.
Amen. Yeah.
But if somebody's not doing their share, then we need to help them find a position somewhere else where they can shine. And do
I used to say they've been promoted to another company.
Yeah,
I don't know what company it is yet, but you've been
with
promoted.
Me, it's really hard to get fired. I mean, you got to lie or steal or just do something blatant or stop showing up.
Yeah,
makes me mad. Then they go. But
yeah, that's it, and that's part of it, right? So I think it's that family mentality is not so much. It's more of contractual agreement. We're a team and we need each other.
Right.
And if team players are not contributing to the team and they don't want to contribute to the team, they need to go.
Right. We still love them. They may not work for us anymore, but we still love them.
Yeah.
I love them somewhere else.
We say, so when we hire people, we bring on, this is key for when you're trying to bring on the right people to your team. We say one of the greatest mistakes that business owners make is firing too slowly. They hold on. Right. They have high hopes, and those hopes are dashed week 2.
Hire slow, fire fast.
That's right. So one of the things that I find is that when you bring them in, you have high expectations that they're going to excel and they're going to do well. But they have to be willing to dive into the training process or meshing with the team that's in operations. Right? We can't do that for them. They need to do that part. We can give them the good environment. We can give them support, give them the training they need. But then they have to fly. They have to work, right? So we're blessed when they come in. We're excited for them. We bless them. And then when they leave, we bless them on the way out. There's no reason to be angry, bitter. There's no reason to get into a yelling match. None of that. No. Keep your peace.
Right.
Keep your peace. So they're blessed when they come in and bless them on the way out.
Right. Yeah. We talk about character. Like we can't teach character. That's your parents' job.
It's true.
You have it or you don't. So
that's right.
We can teach skills. That's fine. We'll work with you on that. If you mess up, no problem. We'll get through that. But character, we just can't.
It's true.
That's your own responsibility.
So part of all of this, we talk about taking time away, scaling your business to a point where you've got the right team members, not so much hitting, it's a good point, you touched on this earlier, not so much hitting revenue dollars. Our goal is hit 10 million. Okay, great. But the boss is working 150 hours a week. Maybe we shouldn't focus on working, I don't even know, can you work that many hours?
I don't know. Yeah, I've heard of 100-hour weeks.
Maybe because they're working while they're sleeping still.
I guess so.
Yeah, they sleep at the office.
Elon Musk, he would just
sleep at the office. Yeah. So that's an interesting. I want to talk about that in a minute. Actually, that's a great point. But what I'm saying is that there is this mindset of if we focus only on the dollars, we will not then necessarily focus on getting the right team members. So maybe we should focus on getting the right team in place so you can buy back your time, train and equip them. You're going to waste some money in the process because you're going to hire the wrong people. Then you have to fire them. Then you have to train the new people again. You might have to do that a couple times.
That is so good. That's so good. I just heard Dave Ramsey say recently that he only grows at the speed of his team. Like if he has all these opportunities, but if he doesn't have the right team members in place, he'll just pass them by because that's so much more important to have the right team in place.
It's hard.
To grow slowly.
I've hired some people, and even the past year, that just want me to help them. They come talking to me about how I can help them, what I can do for them. Oh, they're so excited because I'm going to help them. I'm like, I'm going to help you. Are you paying me to help you? Am I a consultant now for you?
Yeah, a therapist.
Am I your therapist or consultant? Which one is it? You're paying me? This is great. I'd love to help you. It's different. Like, well, you're a Christian. You're supposed to help people. We're talking about employment. Fee for service. Their service for our fee. Mm-hmm. We're paying them, right? They're charging us for their time and for their ability. And just being mindful of, when you're trying to build a team so that you can buy back your time, be careful of those trigger words that they put out. Trigger words of all we're going to do for them. They're not our customer.
Right. The rabbi that we love, that thou shalt prosper.
Yes.
That he talked about, like, companies that give back to the community. He's like, what? Like, they're already giving back by employing people and providing a good service. Like,
that's right.
I'm not explaining it the way he does, but it was so brilliant.
It's so simple to say that you only give back something that you stole.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And so giving back indicates that you and I stole something. David, you should give back. And David's like, okay, here. David, what did you take? Nothing. I didn't. Did you steal from your customers? No. I provided a service and they paid me. Is that wrong? In the mind of the world, it's wrong because they want to make us feel guilty about everything. And so if we don't steal anything, you don't have to give it back. If you steal it, give it back. And the Bible talks about restitution, paying additional.
That's right.
Paying additional to compensate.
Concept, yeah.
It is a great concept. It'll keep you from doing it.
That's right. Yes.
Like, I don't want to pay 3 times back. Oh my goodness. Zacchaeus was a great example. He just came face to face with Jesus in his home. He felt so vulnerable in the presence of Jesus, the anointed one, the Messiah, that Jesus didn't even call him out for ripping people off. He just said, hey, I'm going to go in your house today. We're going to eat. We're going to celebrate. He's like, I'm going to pay back. If I've taken from anybody, I'm going to pay it back. Plus 3 times.
Didn't he go get money? He got money and was actually started. Yeah, he's just convicted.
He was so convicted. It's the same thing of Isaiah 6, standing in the presence of the Lord. Woe is me, for I'm a man of unclean lips. I dwell in the land of uncleanliness. He recognizes sin immediately, just in the presence, in a vision of the Lord.
For my eyes have seen the King. Yeah.
That's right. So that mindset of we only give back what we've stolen, that is a biblical truth that we need to practice, even if it's from 20 years ago. I've done that personally. I've gone back. I was so convicted. I went back and I restored what I had taken. And that is a principle that's growth. Now you level up. You hit a new level. Mm-hmm. People say, oh, forgive and forget. Okay, what we should do is go, well, God's forgiven me, so I'm going to forget about it. Okay, well, you're not going to level up. If you want to level up in your business, you want to level up in your life, when you go through the things of what you're forgiven for, if you can pay restitution, the judge didn't say I had to pay restitution. It's not about that. The great judge does. The great judge says, the just judge says we should pay restitution. So when we do that, though, I believe Abba, he sees that we want to be part of his family. We want to be in on his team. We want to play on his team. So we level up spiritually. We hit a new height spiritually. And nobody in the physical is telling you how to do it. It was just responding to what the Lord is telling us. So that's a big deal. So what we should do versus give back to our community is we should sow into our community where we believe you'll receive multiplication, that the Lord will bless it. So we sow into the community. And I recommend for Christians, believers, kingdom-minded people to sow into ministry, sow into your local church. So important. Sow into ministries that support trafficking, to stop trafficking. Huge. Slavery, to end human slavery.
Right.
Huge. That feed the hungry, care for the homeless, right?
Provide care for expectant mothers, maybe that don't have the means to take care of that newborn.
Exactly right.
Pregnancy centers.
Pregnancy centers are huge. So I think those are the unborn, the vulnerable. The Bible talks about caring for the vulnerable. Care for the least of these.
The widows and the orphans.
Yes, and the vulnerable. And don't steal from an orphan. The Bible talks a lot about not stealing from an orphan. If you move the post, that corner post of that property, and you move it and you take more of the orphan's land, what the Bible says God's going to do to that man who stole from that vulnerable child is wild. Don't touch a vulnerable child. Don't touch those who are vulnerable, because the Lord is looking out over those people directly. So when we get involved at that level, we sow in at that level. Wow, we're not giving back. We're putting in. We're filling up our tank, our spiritual tank, because then the Bible says we store up treasures in heaven. That's huge. So as a kingdom-minded business person, this is where we need to dwell, in the place where we can get ourselves away from the trees, step back. After your time away, how did you feel? Perspective, like what changed? There had to have been a switch that
right. It's like
switched.
The mindset change that we talked about earlier. Like this business can run without me, and so now I see myself, my wife and I, more as business owners than business operators.
That's good.
And so it's the bigger picture where we can develop more businesses and build and acquire. And so that's kind of really what I'm getting at with my teams. That we want to be more owners and let y'all do the management. Y'all are great at it, better than I am.
You got a system in place now.
Got a system in place, right. And also jotted down coach. I have a business coach I've had for probably 4 years now. Mm-hmm. And that's a tremendous
I remember
help
when
too.
you were talking about getting a business coach 4 years ago.
Yes.
I'm like, are you going to do it? He goes, yeah, I think I'm going to do it.
And it's actually changed, and that company is no longer coaching, and the new one is. So I've got a different coach.
But it's been a process.
Right. But it's someone that, in fact, he called me right on the way here. He just calls to check in. It's amazing. Like, it's just a third party, and you and I really know this stuff, but it's accountability.
Yeah. Yes.
And he'll give me assignments to do, and this whole sabbatical thing he helped me with. He told me questions to ask the team, and just gives me ideas. And so I would really encourage that too.
Is that through what organization is that?
This one is through Dave Ramsey's organization, Entree
cool.
Leadership, Entree Elite.
That's
cool.
cool.
With now. But you can even, like, there's nonprofits that have, like, SCORE, Society of Retired Corporate, something or other, I don't even know. But there's nonprofit ones, or just a mentor at church.
A business mentor is huge.
Yes.
There's guys, I'm glad you brought that up. There's a ton of guys that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s that are kind of in that point now where they are looking to pour back, not give back, to pour back. They want to invest. They want to sow in the younger generation of business owners.
And they love to talk. Take them to breakfast.
Dude, yeah.
You don't have to pay them. Yeah, they'd love to just talk and share their experiences and give advice.
That's it. And when we approach people that we know are successful, that have done well, especially from our church or someone that you might know in the community, our neighbor, when you approach them humbly with open ears, open mind of, hey, can you tell me what it took for you to get to this place? And maybe don't focus on the maybe you recognize something that they have that you want. Hopefully it's not just their stuff.
Right.
Hopefully it's not that you see they have all this stuff.
Man, I'm reminded of an interview with a billionaire, and he said people asked me to borrow money, they asked me for jobs, but no one ever asked me how I did it. He said, I'd love to talk to them. I'd love to share that, but nobody ever asked how to do it.
Yeah.
And they just want his money, and they want jobs. And
they want something from him.
I'd love to pour that into them.
Yeah. And I think he's like, well, that's the whole concept. Do you want me to give you the fish? Or you want me to teach you how to do it?
Right.
Want me to teach you how to fish? And that mentality is so true. So when we approach people that are in a humble position of saying, hey, I'm trying to grow my business. I'm trying to get from this hump of, this level to this level, and I feel like I keep hitting the ceiling. What do I got to do? Typically, it's a mentality shift. And it's almost always ourselves that prevent us from growing.
Absolutely. Right.
It's not that somebody's doing anything
I tell my
to
team,
you.
like, this is the bottle. This is the bottleneck. The bottleneck's always at the top.
Correct.
That's where the slowdown is. It's
Yeah.
not down here. This is good. It's the bottleneck at the top.
Right.
Where we are.
Where we
Leadership.
are. It's us. It's ourselves. Independent leaders. Here we are. We're trying to grow, and especially a lot of solo entrepreneurs. And so that's a mindset of humility is such a powerful tool for a leader to be humble.
I share that too. The higher you get, the more humble you must become. It's inverse the way we would think of it.
It's very inverse. But God adds himself to that mentality because he says that I resist the proud, but I give grace to the humble. And that's just a principle that you can talk on that for hours, the importance of that, and then show every time you humbled yourself, boom, the next level happened. Every time you bucked up and said, I got this, I can do it in my own strength, and then you fall. You're like, I didn't hit it. Yeah, of course not. So being tied in and tethered to the Lord is very important. It can't just be he's on the shelf or he's a Sunday, I did my Bible, I did my morning devotion, our daily bread. I love our daily bread, by the way. But if that's all you got and you left it on the table and you leave your religion there, your faith there, you've got to bring him into the boardroom. You've got to bring him into your office. You've got to, David, I'm laying hands on my bills in my desk. I was doing that before our meeting today. I said, you're going to provide the resources that I need to pay these bills. You're gonna bring this contract in. I'm believing that you're going to supply what I need for this to meet all my obligations, and I'm sowing continually. I continue to sow, even during slow seasons. Right? That's faith. We need faith in that element. In all elements, we need faith. We shouldn't leave God out of our finances. Why? You think he wants all your money? He doesn't need our money.
It's his anyway.
It's his anyway. Right?
Absolutely.
So these principles
Totally
that if we walk humbly, we're going to get to new heights.
Right. Right. One thing about this sabbatical, we did it during our slow time. I'll throw that out there too. June, July are the slowest months of the year for us.
Smart. That's good.
So we took those 2 months off as a start. So it's
Sorry,
a
wait a
gradual
minute.
process.
Are you still on it? Are you still on sabbatical?
Still on it. Yeah. We added another month. We did June. We met with them and said, you guys did so great. We gave them a bonus. We're taking another month. And so yeah, we're still on sabbatical. One other thing we did is like one of the goals is I formed an LLC for our real estate. And we talked about that in the past. I had never done it. It's been years and years. I thought, I got to do this.
Yeah,
never
and you finally did it.
Got it done. Yeah. Switched the bank accounts.
It didn't take that much time, did it?
No, it took like a day.
So there's a ton of things that we have on our list that we know we just got to do. We got to do it. And it's pinging our brain.
And like that, it keeps my focus off of the business, what's going on there, and worrying, are they taking care of this? No, I'm working on this project. I've moved on. So
there's so many little things. So I'm gonna say this real quick. So we're getting to the end of our hour, but if you've hung on this long, guys, I appreciate
yes,
you hanging on this long.
Listen to our stories.
Listen to the stories. Well, we learn a lot from stories.
Absolutely.
So back in January, remember I told you I retired my tool belt, right? Mm-hmm. So I haven't done a lot of. Megan would be the first one to tell you. She goes, "Yeah, you're right. You have not done much around the house, James." I said, "No, not really. Really haven't." I get guys to do that now, and Megan always prefers me to do all the work, not hire anybody into our own home to do the work, right? Just because she thinks I can do it better.
My wife's the opposite.
Yeah, she's like, "David, no, bring him in.
You're gonna break it. No.
So
get James over here."
So I bring. Yeah, we have done work in your house. So I brought this toilet home. We were going to replace this toilet because it had a cracked lid. The lid on top was just cracked, right? I'm like, I don't know how that happens. Porcelain. I think porcelain's pretty easy to break. And so I went to go pick it up. I was like, I got a toilet. I'm going to go change this whole thing. It's going to be great. This is a crappy conversation. I'm sorry, but it's just kind of what it is.
Ding, ding.
So we changed the lid. I go to get the lid, and I'm outside getting my tools, the wrench and stuff, and I was like, all right, I'm going for this. And I had this like check in my spirit was like, hey, where are your gloves? Almost audibly, like I heard this voice, where are your gloves? And I like to believe that the Holy Spirit talks to me, right? He walks and talks to me. Yeah. I'm like, I can't find them. That's all right. It'll be fine. So I go inside. Very first thing I do is go pick up the lid that was cracked. I'd never moved it. I just saw it had like a fissure in it. So I picked it up. The thing collapsed into my hand and literally cut through my nerves. My finger sliced it right through. And I'm like, ah! I'm like this. I'm like, this is bad. Megan hears me yelling. And she goes, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm fine. She goes,
I'm good. We're good.
She says, as soon as I hear you say that, I know you have to go to the emergency room. I'm like, nope, I'm not going. And she goes, let me see it. I show it to her, and the thing's gaping wide.
Oh, wow.
And she goes, you're going. You're going. I'm like, just give me some electrical tape. And I did. I electrical taped it. And
that's a guy.
Thing was like, it was horrible. So this was back in January. So literally, we're in July now. My finger has finally stopped pinging, numb. I used to get sharp shooting pains. They stitched through my nerve. And so when they took the stitches out, it was worse than putting the stitches in. Literally, because they're touching the nerve. The nerve was just shooting the whole time. It was horrible. So it finally feels, I can't fully bend it and close it. I can't fully do that. Yeah. But, so I never changed the toilet.
Oh.
So now I go back.
This is where the story's going.
This is where it is. So the box was there in the garage for 7 months. Megan says, hey, are you going to change that toilet now? Do we need to get someone else to do this? I said, nope, I'll do it. And she's like, okay. Because I'd said I would do it like 5 times since. So I go in. Within like 15 minutes, the thing is swapped.
Isn't that funny?
15 minutes. She goes, whoa, it's done. I said, yeah, it was easy. She goes, 7 months and a cut off finger and it's done.
Isn't that no, I'm just thinking that's the total story at our house. Like it takes 2 months to get to and 10 minutes to do. I'm like, that was so easy if I had just done it. It's so funny.
Part of it is margin.
Yes.
We've got to give ourselves more margin so that we can take care of the things that we really need and want to take care of that are better, that are good for our family. Because in the end, we're doing all of this that we do. We have these companies and we're doing it so that we can serve our families. That's why we're doing it.
Absolutely.
And if we're not doing that, what are we really doing? Right?
Right.
So,
in closing, I know we're out of time, but just one little encouragement to entrepreneurs and business people and just people in general that I read something recently, like your biggest fears, and one girl said, my biggest fear is failure. And then I heard somebody talking about regrets. I was like, that is so dangerous. Like, you shouldn't fear failure. You use that to grow.
Yeah,
and
it's fuel.
I have a lot of regrets, and I use those regrets. I don't fear regret. There's things I wish I'd done differently, but I use that to grow, and I think God uses that to change us.
He does.
So, I mean, take a chance. Get out there and do it.
Yeah, and fail.
Fail.
Expect to fail. Don't go out winning. Don't go out thinking, hey, we're going to lose. No, go out.
Learn from that failure. Don't keep doing the same thing. But
it's coaching. It's the whole thing with coaches. When you lose the game, the coach doesn't pat you on the back and say, great, that was the best thing you ever did. No, he says, no, you sucked over here. That was bad. You got to improve that.
And in the locker room, you get to watch it in front of everybody.
Yes. And so that failure is completely expected. Failure, I mean, there's
That's
only
a whole other show. We should do one on that.
I think that'd be a great show to do. Hey, guys, thanks so much. See, we just keep talking and talking.
I know. Sorry.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. We really appreciate you guys for hanging on. Hey, we hit 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you for that. We're grateful for you guys. Share this with a friend as well. And if you have a topic or a comment that you want us to talk about, guys, hit us in the comments. We'll talk to you soon. God bless you all. Bye-bye.